All right, babe, I'm going to take you to a town where you can tube through town.
Tube through town.
You can absolutely tube through town. And it's also the longest running Oktoberfest in the United States.
Woo, grab yourself a stein of beer.
Where are we taking everybody?
We're going to Helen, Georgia.
Put your seatbelts on.
Because here we go.
This is RV Destinations Podcast.
Hello and welcome out to the RV Destinations Podcast, wherever you're joining us from, whether you're joining us on YouTube or the audio podcast. We'd like to thank you for joining us, and we are so very appreciative. We're here to bring you another one of those hidden gems that you probably haven't heard of, but we're going to talk all about it. And I'm here with my lovely wife, Caly editor-in-chief, and you've got to, I don't know when this is going to air, but you got to listen to her, or you got to read her letter of editor in this next issue because she said I was right for the first time in my life.
I did just once, and that's why I had to put it into print.
And it's actually in print. And so if you're a magazine subscriber, first of all, thank you. But second of all, make sure you read that. That's going to be the winter issue 27, right?
Yes, 27.
Issue 27. Mm-hmm. Read that because she has documented that I was right.
In one instance.
In her own words. In her own words. I didn't even persuade her.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Anyway, so we got a guest on the show. Do you want to bring on our guest? We'll talk about Helen, Georgia.
Yeah, we've got Carrie Hanrahan on the line.
Woo!
Hi, Carrie. Woohoo.
Hey there.
So glad to have you back.
I feel like you've been around a lot lately, but that's because we had all these shows we were scheduled to do and never really got them scheduled because we got so sidetracked.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for seeing us so much.
Yeah.
I know. Thanks for hanging out.
The doctor's in the building.
That's right. So
Dr. Randy's in the building.
Dr. Randy is in the building. Where is that from?
Well, I don't know. I just made it up. Okay. I'm gonna diagnose whether Helen, Georgia is a good place to go. Take my RV.
You're so weird. I'm going to put that in print also.
Oh, wow. So tell us, Helen, Georgia. So where exactly is Helen, Georgia? I have done no prep work for this. I apologize to all the listeners. I normally do, but I've done nothing. I've been tossed into this today. But Caly has, and Carrie, of course, has. So so I won't be the main lead here.
Ooh, okay.
So tell us where Helen, Georgia is. Didn't you say it's out northeastern Georgia?
yes, northeastern Georgia, north of Atlanta, in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. So the area is stunning. I mean, you have forests everywhere, you have waterfalls, you have mountains, you have, just everything beautiful. Helen itself is a really cute little town, and it's totally reinvented itself. So it was a lumber town way back in history, and just, kind of one of those places that everybody bypassed because there just was nothing there. I mean, nothing of interest. So the town kind of fell, I'm going to say, somewhat into disrepair, just not of interest. And so the town itself, few of the people took on their own thing of, hey, let's fix this. It's time now. The lumber industry has changed and we want to move on. And so they contacted a artist that lived in the town next door and said, what could we do to make essentially our town kind of a tourist attraction? And this John Kolak, who's the artist, he came up with these water paintings that are just beautiful, actually, just to see the water paintings that he did, but of what the town could look like. And he created all these facades for the storefronts and truly just changed Helen into a alpine Bavarian village. The town, literally within like a week, was like, this is awesome. This is great. On board. And they started immediately. And really have changed the town into a really adorable tourist attraction. It's a small town. Helen's population is 630 people.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, so it's tiny, but it's along the Chattahoochee River, and that runs right through town. Speaking of the tubing, right through town.
Yep.
And the forest surrounds it and the mountains surround it. So, I mean, it's an ideal location for anything. And to me, it was very cute and Disney-like. I said, when you walk into those neat little towns that they have totally transformed into something new, to me, there's something behind that. And granted, it was the people, obviously, who wanted it to become what it is. But as I said in my little writing for the magazine, I was kind of expecting Mickey Mouse to pop out at some point, and welcome me in because it just felt that way. So, it's adorable. Wander the town, see the frescoes on the buildings. The paintings are beautiful. They have gorgeous flowering baskets all through town, kind of a park-like setting. I mean, there's just so much there to do that
Mhm.
you really want to, take the time to see the town itself and then discover everything else.
Gotcha. So I'm reading something here. It says it's an alpine village with gingerbread trimmings.
Oh,
In the
that's cute.
So there's your description.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and it looks like so we do a lot with Talona Ridge, which is in LJ.
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 Not far away.
Yeah, it looks like it's due east. Looks like Helen's due east of Talona Ridge and LJ.
LJ. Good job.
Wow, this is like something that's
This is
been
a
going on for a
standing
long
thing.
time.
Yes.
But yeah. So it's there's a lot of quirky things, and yes, my tube reference was to the river going through there. People frequently in the summertime tube right through the city, and then also they do have the longest running Oktoberfest in the U.S. So
Yeah, I
that's
saw
pretty
that.
interesting.
I saw that. So that's it's so cute. I pulled up pictures because as soon as I got your top 10 and I started reading it, I was like, what? And I pulled up pictures. It is so stinking adorable. It is literally this Bavarian village.
Mm-hmm.
It's adorable.
When they also have a pickle fest every year.
Like pickles?
Pickle, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Helen celebrates a pickle festival complete with pickle-themed games, costumes, and the pickle tossed.
Well, when is
It's one
said,
of one of those you got to go see it to believe it small town events.
I love it. When is this pickle fest?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't have
darn.
that information.
I was like, because that sounds fun, and I love pickles.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, they really recreated their town to be a tourist attraction. I mean, if your industry has changed and it's time to move on, I mean, I think they were one of the most creative towns out there to, create this. And it is one of the top tourist attractions in Georgia. I mean, if you go there, depending on time of year, sometimes it can be very crowded. I actually was there more winterish. And so it was adorable because there was plenty of places to get around, but not huge crowds. So that, was a lot of fun in itself. So, and when you're in town, don't also miss, we have all these things that people do, the love locks, they hang on the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, well, in like the past 3-4 years, all of a sudden that kind of just blew up in Helen. And so for them to take care of it, because those locks are so darn heavy, that they really are bad for the bridges and everything, they took it to heart and they built this really cute like hot air balloon sculpture right in the middle of town, excuse me, that you can hang your love locks on. So if you're in town and in the square, take a look at it, because actually it's just made a really beautiful sculpture. But then go ahead and walk along the river, because of course people still are kind of putting their locks on there. But it's actually become like a thing to do in Helen.
We'll have
neat.
Talona has been trying to get us to come down, and we're just trying to figure out a schedule to come down there. But that's about an hour away from Talona, an hour and 20 minutes. I just Google mapped it, so maybe we can go down there. Go visit Helen too.
Yeah,
I keep saying Helena, but it's Helen.
Helen.
Helena is in Montana, a much different place.
Yeah.
But all right, you want to dive into the top things to do?
The top stuff. So we covered the town. We covered a little bit of history. Any more history you want to cover before moving on to the culinary features of the town?
Absolutely. Actually, history is probably one of the biggest things in Helen, at least for me. You guys know me and the history stuff, but there is so much to see there. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm going to start at the Hardman Farm State Historic Site, which is just on the edge of town. And it is a really beautiful place in the sense of there's this Italianate mansion. I hope that's how you say it. Italianate mansion that's there. Absolutely gorgeous. But the property itself, was originally used by indigenous peoples. Then it was like a summer retreat. Then it became a dairy farm, and then the home of the governor. And so the property itself, you can go and tour, walk around. You can tour the home, which is beautiful, and then walk through the grounds and everything. So the history of that is super cool. And then right across the road from that is the, I hope I'm going to say these right, the Sati Nakuchi Indian Mound, which is actually a very, very popular site to photograph in Helen, because on the top of this mound, they had built a little gazebo, a little white gazebo. And so it's just a really beautiful spot, has the Yonah Mountains in the background, and just a really neat place to see the history there. They actually did do a dig into it and discovered that it had been used by the Native Americans and had been a burial site. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, so it's just kind of, that whole little section right there is just a great spot to go see. The history is awesome. And then around the road from there is a place called the Nora Mill. It's a grist mill, and it's right on the Chattahoochee River. Problems too. And so you stop there, and it's still an operating mill. So like I bought stone ground grits when I was there, and then you can go outside into the back, and there's a beautiful dam with the water falling over that actually was a beautiful spot for photos again. So there's that. There's a place called the Stovall Mill Covered Bridge, which is on the outside of town, but that also is where there was a grist mill prior, but the bridge now is all that's standing there, and it has been rebuilt, I think the last in 1953 or something like that. But it's a historic site to go see. Then there's the area that's called the Saudi Naguchi. It's kind of like a hamlet, a small little town outside of Helen, but very historic. There's the old Sati store that you can stop at, which is just adorable, built in 1872. And the front of it is kind of like a little bit of a museum. And then as you follow back through that, it's kind of an eclectic store to go to. And right next door, there's a little spot to eat. So that's a really cute little area. And then if you go down the road from there, probably my favorite place to go see was the Folk Pottery Museum of Northeast Georgia. And I would say if you are into any kind of art, that is your stopping place, because the history in there is incredible. Folk art pottery is like, if you've never seen it, it's the jugs, and they can be any size, that have faces on them. And so it's a really neat art form, and the museum is actually stunning. They've done a really good job in such a small town or hamlet of putting this together. So I would really highly recommend a stop there, and then seeing their grounds. There's an African-American rebuilt log cabin that's a historical marker in that area. So the history around Helen, I mean, you might be going for the cute little town. Don't ignore everything else that's around it, because you can spend, a couple of days just exploring the history.
That's incredible. I've been looking up all these things since you've been talking, and this is definitely becoming one of those places, baby, where I'm like, oh, we got to go. Like, we got to go. We
got an open spot on number 926 things to visit.
Okay, great.
It's like 926, maybe 927.
I'm going to Sharpie marker that in.
Yeah, we'll get to that about 28 years after my death.
Nice.
Now, I don't want to steal your thunder, but there's a couple cool things I just pulled up as I was looking. First of all, are we talking about the shops now? Or are we talking about the history?
History.
Yes. We'll get to the shops.
History.
We're going into the shops.
We'll get there.
We're going to get to the...
Okay. Well, then I'm not going to say anything, because there was a couple cool little shops that just sounded fun to me. But
yep.
Anyway.
You're thunder stealing.
Well, I didn't say anything, so I didn't steal anybody's thunder, all right?
He tried, Gary. He tried.
Because... I wasn't sure if we were on to shopping, because she kind of said, if you go downtown and this and that. And I was like, okay, are we on to shopping? Okay. Again, unprepared. This is what happens when you're an unprepared podcaster.
It's fun, right? Flying by the seat of our pants.
All right.
Hey, RV dreamers, ready to level up your adventures? Right now, you can get 30% off any RV Destinations magazine subscription with our holiday code XMISS30. Yep, 30%. Treat yourself or another Wanderluster to stunning destination, expert travel tips, and road-tested inspiration. But hurry, this holiday deal rolls away fast. Use the code XMISS30, that's XMAS30 at checkout at rvdestinationsmagazine.com/subscribe and start exploring smarter. All right. So moving on to the next section, I think we're going to talk about food and drinks, which sounds pretty cool because there's even a couple of wineries in town, aren't there?
Yeah, so the food and drinks in Helen is all over the place, but of course the main stuff is going to be the German cuisine and beer. So there's about
Mm.
10
Pretzels.
different 10 different German restaurants. So you can get your pretzels, your schnitzel, your spatzel, any of your German beers. I enjoyed the Heidelberg restaurant, which is kind of right. It's right in the square that's right in town in a really beautiful building. Has a small upper balcony, so I sat there and kind of overlooked the balcony area. But the food was incredible. I then another night did a place called Mueller's Famous Fried Cheese Cafe. It's a long name,
Ooh.
but it's a great spot to get a fried cheese kebab. And it was ooey,
Ooh.
gooey, and delicious. So there's all kinds of places. One the locals talk about is Hoffer's Bakery, Hoffer's Helen Bakery Cafe. It is
Mhm.
actually a family who had a kind of famous, I believe, bakery elsewhere. They also then decided to open this one in Helen, and it's a very popular spot to go. And they tried to make it it's very authentic to German food, German baked goods. They have a restaurant and everything there. So there's all kinds of places to eat, which are stunning. That was just a little tiny bit. The wine right in Helen is
Mhm.
Habersham Winery, and then their sister winery, which is, I want to make sure I get it right, Creekstone Winery and Vineyard. And darn, I went to both of them. So I started at Creekstone Winery, and they're very different. So Creekstone's up on a hilltop, which is so cool because when you're sitting there, I had some wine and a flatbread in their outdoor area, and I look over here, and the vista is Yonah Mountain. So the views from
Oh,
there
wow.
are stunning. The wines were great. The area is known more for like Chardonnays, Cabernet Sauvignons. That area is very close or in conjunction with the Dahlonega AVA. And if you don't know what an AVA is, it's an American viticultural area. And that's what all viticultural areas around the United States, a lot of them have created like these areas where they're growing conditions are specific to their types of wines. And so they create this AVA, which is something wineries like to have attached to them. So it's kind of neat that they are able to be part of that because the Habersham Winery, which is their sister winery just down the hill, a lot of their vineyards and everything are part of that AVA. And
Mhm.
Habersham is so different from the other one because it's like in an old farmhouse. It's right across the street from that grist mill I was talking about earlier. And so just different atmospheres for wines, but another thing to enjoy, go for the German beer and then pop in for a wine. And then, like you were mentioning before, Randy, the other big food and drink thing in Helen is obviously Oktoberfest. It runs from September 10th to November 1st. So it is the longest running one. And my husband and I actually were to it a few years ago, and it was a blast. They do most of the activities in one central building. I think it's called Helen Fest Hall, I believe. And there they'll have like the German music, German foods and beers and all that kind of stuff. But once you've kind of done the activities there, the whole town is celebrating it. So there's tents and beer and everything everywhere. It is child friendly, but I would say more during the daytime than in the evening.
Mhm.
But the Oktoberfest is a blast. So, food and drinks are great. And then the shopping is fun too. There's a few little, very kitschy stores, of course, where you can just get your mug and your t-shirt, but you can get, Black Forest cuckoo clocks at a Bavarian shop there. There's a glass blowing shop. There's Helen hats, which they make hats. There's a lot there, even in this little tiny town.
Yeah, so the one thing I wanted to bring up was there's a pretzel eating contest during Oktoberfest, and
Oh.
that so they take their pretzels very serious. Apparently, it's a competition between each shop who makes the most authentic pretzel, and then they
Ooh.
kind of battle it out during Oktoberfest, is what I'm reading here. But getting to the shops, there's two cool shops. One is a Christmas shop.
Oh, of course.
It's open 365 days, but you can actually see Santa any time of the year at this shop. So that sounds kind of fun. And then you can sleep in a beer barrel. There's some chalets that are made out of beer barrels, or look like beer barrel. Maybe that's more, I don't know if they're made out of them or not, but they're shaped like beer barrels. And you can get a truly immersive German mountain experience is what they're calling it.
Okay, that would be super fun.
There you go.
I don't know what would be fun about that, but
It
anyway,
would be fun. Hey,
it'd be fun to see.
We stayed in a little pod in Scotland.
Yeah, but it was just a little place.
It was a little itty bitty wee pod.
I love that.
I know. Well, that's fabulous. Oh my gosh, the town is packed full. And then I know one of the features is the Chattahoochee, which I love saying Chattahoochee. Yeah. So what are some of like the outdoor activities there in that area?
Yeah. And again, because of location, the North Georgia area being at the foothills in the Appalachian Mountains, it's stunning. The national forest there is the Chattahoochee-Oconee National Forest, and it really surrounds a ton of the town. So activity-wise, there's a little bit of everything. From waterfalls. So I did 3 different waterfall hikes while I was there. There's probably the most well-known, and maybe because it's probably one of the shorter ones, is Anna Ruby Falls. It's a stunning waterfall to see, very close to the Unicoi State Park, which is where I actually stayed. So if you stay there, it literally is just down and around the corner from there, and it's only it's less than a mile hike, so like round trip. So that one is a pretty easy one to do, very beautiful. My most fun one, I think, was it's called Dukes Creek Falls, and it's a 2-mile round trip. But what makes it cool is the whole hike is kind of like along a riverbed, more or less. So you get actually a lot of variable cascades throughout. So you're getting to that falls, but along the way, you'll see a whole bunch of other stuff too. And then the falls itself is really cool because there's a huge one coming down, and then off on the side there's like another one that they combine. So it's a really beautiful hike. And then if you want something a little bit longer, there's Ravencliff Falls, and that's a 5-mile round trip hike. And they call it a split falls because of how it comes down through the canyon area through there. So waterfalls are huge. I know there's probably a few more in the area. Those are just the ones that I happen to do myself. If you stay at the Unicoi State Park, it's a state park and lodge. So there's actually a hotel there, but then they have lots of different ways you can stay, and the RV park. But what's cool about this place is you can go zip lining, you can do archery, you can go fly fishing, you can go kayaking, paddleboarding, hiking, right, all within the state park. So that itself is a blast, because if you're staying there, it's super easy. And then other things you can do. They have the Georgia Mountain Coaster. I don't know if you've heard of these things.
Oh, yes, we have done those.
Yeah. So the Georgia Mountain Coaster literally is right in Helen, right in town. You can walk downtown to it. And it's a 1-mile-long ride. And so those are the kind, like, you sit on the flat thing and you can control your speed yourself going down. So there's that. And then because that river runs right through the middle of town, there's different outfitters that you can rent a tube from. You can paddle the river. A couple of them also have like some adventure courses and stuff. But there's that kind of stuff. And then if you like to hike, oh my gosh. So there's all kinds of hiking. You are about 10 miles from the Appalachian Trail. So you can drive up the road, and if you've never done any of the Appalachian Trail and want to say you did, this is your opportunity. Hop on and do a hike. There actually is a hike called Hogpen Gap to Unicoi Gap that's 14 miles one way that they kind of recommend in that area that you're close to. And then if that's a little bit too much from the state park, you can actually hike from the state park into Helen it's about a 5-mile round trip hike. So you can stay at the state park and walk right into Helen on that trail. And then another one that's really kind of cool is the Helen to Hardman Heritage Trail. And that actually starts well, I'm going to say it starts in the town of Helen, and it follows the old railway that used to do the lumber shipping right to Hardman State Park. So you have all these different, things that you can do in town. I mean, it's just or in town, surrounding town. So going to Helen isn't just going because you want to see the cute little alpine village. It is, but there is so much else to do. And then an added side trip, just because of my age, I had to go to Cleveland, Georgia, which is literally only, I think, about 5-6 miles from Helen, just a really short drive. And I had to go to Babyland General Hospital. And if you've never heard of Babyland General Hospital,
no.
That's where the Cabbage Patch Kids were born.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to see this.
So if you ever had a Cabbage Patch baby or Cabbage Patch Kid, this is actually where they're made. It looks like this huge mansion on a hill that you can go to. When you walk in, literally, they pipe in the smell of baby powder.
Oh my gosh.
Baby when you walk in, and there's kind of just like a little museum in the front that kind of shows through like the beginnings and who the man is who created them and up to kind of the present. And then truthfully, the rest of this huge building really is a store. Every kind of Cabbage Patch you could ever think of, displayed in very unique ways. Look it up online.
Okay.
To say the least. I can't remember if I included some pictures with the stuff I did for the story because it's very unique. They have these little Cabbage Patch things with a baby's head in it, and they move around.
Oh my
Almost
gosh.
a little creepy, but kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded creepy.
Oh yeah, I just pulled that up. Oh yes.
Yes. But that's a wonderful side trip. Just if you're going down memory lane, and want to kind of see that. So, again, there's just tons and tons and tons to do. It's not just a kitschy little town. You'll see some reviews that say it's maybe a little rundown, a little, not that great. I totally disagree. I thoroughly loved it. It's no different than any other tourist area that, draws you in, and then everything else draws you in. Your reasons to stay aren't just there. It's everything else too.
Oh, that is fabulous. So let's talk about some camping because I'm like, okay, how can we get to this town? Where can we stay? So you stayed at the state park, right?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
And that's only, I think, like a 2.5 or 3 mile drive outside of town, extremely close. And it's wonderful because, like I said, it has Unicoi Lake is the lake that's right there. And nice large hike around it, everything. Their sites were very nice. I believe they can do up to a 40-foot camper.
Okay.
And have about 13 full hookups, but then they also have about 31 other types of hookups there. But then if you're not, totally into the camping thing and want to do something else, the lodge is there. They have these really unique, like pod-like, I don't even know, cabins, I guess, that you can rent. So the state park is wonderful to stay at. I passed a couple of other places while I was there. I think there's quite a few around. I remembered seeing the Creekwood Resort, and the only reason that one kind of stood out to me is because on their sign is they're a 21 and older only campground, so no children.
Oh, okay.
And you don't see that too often, but, like they said, and they also do only vacationers, so no long-term camping there.
Oh, okay.
Which was interesting. And I think they can take like a 43-foot camper, something like that. But yeah, there were numerous places to stay, but I would really recommend the state park. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fabulous. Great. That is awesome. Yeah, we got to figure out how to get there, babe. I'm looking at you. What are you over there?
I'm looking at campgrounds, and it looks like
there's
a
a
lot of
few.
small ones in the area.
Now, I did see the Unicoi Springs RV Resort. I pulled them up because they're really, really close to town. However, they are a members only, so you have to own a campsite or be a family member of somebody in that campsite to be able to camp there. So just a heads up if you're doing some research out there. And then there's the Creekwood RV Resort. There's also a Cherokee campground, which is kind of nearby. And then out a little bit further, there's other ones.
It's on top of Georgia's RV Airstream Park, which got 10 out of 10 stars.
Oh, nice.
Out of quite a few reviews. So, I mean, There's quite a
Yeah.
bit in the area, but some of these are going to be smaller mom and pop style campgrounds, as you know. So just check length requirements and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So
Yep. Fabulous.
Well, awesome. Well, this sounds like a really fun town.
does.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to put it on our list.
We gotta find time to do this. This sounds like a blast.
Absolutely. Well, Carrie, as always, thank you so much for discussing Helen with us, and we're going to put it on our list. It's going to be 26 years before we get there, but
But we're gonna do it,
We're gonna
Randy
be there.
Beheimer. We're gonna do it.
she got a lot of hopes and dreams, and
I do.
I'm the crusher of her dreams sometimes.
No, I'm the crusher of your dream. You're the crusher of my travel dreams.
All right, you want to take us out?
Yes. Thank you so much, Carrie, for joining us once again. We always love having you online with us. So thank you so much.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Awesome. We want to thank all of you out there for joining us in here today, whether you're listening on our audio podcast. And again, you can find us wherever you listen to any of your podcasts. We're everywhere out there. And then don't forget, we're on YouTube too. So thank you so much for those of you that are on YouTube right now watching us, especially if you're watching right now to the very end. I really appreciate that part. And please make sure that you hit that subscribe button below our YouTube link so that you are always up to date on our newest YouTube content. And don't forget about our website, rvdestinationsmagazine.com. Get out there. We have a ton of great free, FREE, free travel information for you out there. Just a lot of great content that we're constantly updating. We've got a lot of exciting things coming down the pipeline that we've been working on. I know I keep saying that, but I promise you it's coming. And I think that's about it. So thanks, everybody.
Safe travels.
Safe travels, y'all.